When Vito Corleone was told that his youngest son Michael had killed a police captain, his response was to laugh heartily, which puzzled his assassins. In turn, this gave Michael enough time to escape and live another day. It might seem like an insignificant detail in the grand scheme of things, but it's actually one of the most important moments in cinema history. Let me explain. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be taking a look at why mafia bosses have such a particular fondness for laughter. Stick around until the end of the video, because I am going to be telling you about an actual mafia boss who took this behavior to the extreme. In The Godfather Part 2, young Vito Corleone immigrates to the United States from Italy, where he eventually becomes a powerful mafia boss in the city of New York. One night, he is paid a visit by a police captain who threatens to kill him unless he pays a sizable bribe. However, when Vito refuses to comply with the demands of the police captain, he has no choice but to draw his gun and shoot him dead. After Vito survives the assassination attempt, he is visited by two members of his crew who relay the news to him that it was the police captain's brother who ordered the hit. Upon hearing this, Vito does what any reasonable person would do: laughs. Now, while this moment in the film appears to be played off quite humorously, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. See, Vito wasn't laughing because he was happy about killing the police captain. Instead, it was a way of expressing that he was deeply disappointed. You happen to come across a code of conduct that the mafia tends to stick to pretty religiously: no killing of cops. Not only did the police captain break this rule, he also broke the golden rule of never kill someone who works for the family, especially not over some measly money. Vito understood that if word got out that he was murdered by a member of his own crew, it would bring shame upon his family and cause them to be laughed out of the mafia forever. So instead of reacting with anger or sadness, he reacted with laughter. This is something that has been a staple of mafia culture for decades. Another great example of this comes from the life of notorious mobster Lucky Luciano. Born into poverty in Italy, Luciano immigrated to the U.S. in 1906 and quickly rose through the ranks of the mafia. When he heard about the death of a fellow mobster, he didn't grieve, he laughed. To those outside of the mafia, this may seem strange, but to those who understand the culture, it makes perfect sense. There's a saying that goes, if you gotta cry, cry. But if you gotta laugh, laugh. Essentially, this means that if you have a reason to be upset, go ahead and express your emotions. But if you have a reason to be happy, then make sure to show your joy. In other words, never let anyone know how much something affects you. This is a piece of advice that Michael Corleone follows after he kills his father's assassins. He understands that if people know how much his father's death affected him, they would be vulnerable to attack. Another example of this can be seen in the reaction of mobster John Gotti, after he learned that his close friend and associate, Anthony Duffy, had been sentenced to 70 years in prison. Rather than showing sadness, Gotti broke into a huge smile and laughed hysterically. The reaction puzzled everyone around him, but it was perfectly in line with mafia protocol. Gotti knew that showing sadness would be a sign of weakness. So instead, he chose to laugh. But why is this so important? Well, the mafia is all about respect and fear. If your enemies know that you are icily upset by things, they will take advantage of you. But if they see that you are always calm and collected, they will respect you. Laughter is seen as a way to keep a clear mind and make rational decisions. By laughing in the face of danger, you show that you are not afraid. And fear is something that the mafia respects above all else. However, there's a catch here. Not all laughter is created equal. You see, if you're laughing at something, then that means you find it funny. But if something happens that makes you laugh, you don't necessarily mean for it to be funny. In the case of Vito Corleone, he wasn't laughing because he thought the situation was funny. He was laughing because he was disappointed. This is an important distinction to make because if you laugh at something, it shows that you find it amusing. And while this might be okay in some situations, there are other times when it's not appropriate. For example, if someone makes a joke at your expense, it's probably not a good idea to laugh. On the other hand, if someone makes a joke that's not at your expense, then it's probably okay to laugh. This is something that many people outside of the mafia fail to understand. They think that laughing is always a sign of happiness, but it's not. Sometimes it's a sign of disappointment, frustration, anger, or even sadness. But in all of these cases, laughter is a way to keep a clear mind and make rational decisions. It's a way to show that you are not afraid. This brings us back to the scene in The Godfather Part 2, where Vito Corleone is visited by two members of his crew. They tell him that it was the police captain's brother who ordered the hit on him. Ain't. Vito doesn't get angry or sad. Instead, he laughs. He laughs because he is disappointed. He laughs because he knows that the police captain's brother has broken the code of conduct. Vito knows that he should kill the police captain's brother, but he doesn't. Why? Because he doesn't want to set a bad example. He wants his sons to know that no matter what happens, they should always stay calm and collected. So why did mafia bosses laugh when they were supposed to be angry? Because laughter is a sign of respect. It shows that you are not afraid. And in the world of the mafia, respect and fear are everything. Now, if you've made it this far into the video, then chances are you're really interested in the mafia. So I've got a question for you. What's your favorite thing about the mafia? Is it the crime, the drama, the fashion? Let me know in the comments below. While you're down there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I post new videos every week on topics like this, so if you're interested, then it would be a huge help to both myself and the channel if you subscribed.
Ow.
Before we wrap things up, I want to tell you about a real-life mafia boss who took the whole laughing thing to the extreme. His name was Charles Lucky Luciano. And if you want to hear about the crazy things he did, then you're going to have to tune in next week. I'll see you then.